Yo, YouTubers. This is an exclusive. Another Brucey special. I hate having to do this, talk to cameras and that, like, it does me head in, like, but the only way I can kind of share my opinions and see what people think out there, yeah? And in all the midst of all the YouTube mishmash out there, straight flat earth theories and all the rest of it, like, there's all kinds of crap out there, isn't there? And you got your false prophets and all that kind of stuff, all claiming to be this or claiming to be that. I don't play that game, right? I just tell you what I know. But I'm trying to think of something to speak about on YouTube that is completely new, completely original, completely different, with a bit of a thought-provoking, you know, what I'm saying is thought-provoking it and make you, like, I don't know, see things in a different light, and also help me if other people's opinions can show me something different and tell me something different and say, wow, that's a bit strange, yeah, I see what you mean there. I don't get much response, I don't get many replies and that kind of thing, probably because YouTube is blocking everything I say. But some people are getting back to me and it's getting out, you know, to some people in America as well, like some people in Holland, some people in Australia, all over the place, yeah, right? I mean, you've got to excuse me for talking fast and stuff because I'm trying to keep the video as short as possible so that it doesn't take as long for me to render the video and then upload it to YouTube and so forth, because it takes a while, you know what I mean? If you do a speech for an hour, it takes a while for me. When I take, you know, I've already said this on other videos, like, it takes a long time to process the video and then put it onto YouTube, right? But this speech is going to be about elements of witchcraft are discovered by accident, in strange circumstances in my own life, right? Now, anyone who's familiar with me from the old channel and all that, right, you'll know that I've openly told people that I flipped my lid a few years back in 1991, something like that, or 92, where I basically lost. I thought I was mad and insane, but I wasn't. I was getting information from higher sources, like, and telling me things and stuff which I needed to hear, and that for myself personally, because it's just what I'm into, you know. What this speech is about, when I was mad, I did a lot of crazy things, and, you know, I had all my family were all concerned about me and everything. They all thought I was heading for the asylum, basically. Which they weren't, like, you know, far from it, like, but I'm okay now, like, obviously, kind of. But one particular night, when I was off my bonks, you know, I don't know if anyone out there has suffered from mental illness and that, like I've always admitted, a lot of it was due to the fact that I did a lot of LSD in my earlier years, which is kind of drives you mad, basically, eventually. And I experienced a lot of crazy things, right? But this one particular incident I'm going to talk about is, I think it's original, I think it's something new, something different, that people can have a little think about and give me some ideas, say what you think was going on, like. But this is the story, right? This is a real, true story. I'm not, like, inventing this or making it up to get views or nothing like that. Hopefully it's going to be something original anyway. That's what my aim is on my channel, is to be completely new, you know, something you never hear anywhere else. And one night I went through this period anyway while I was ill where I didn't sleep for 4 days, approximately 4 days and 4 nights. I was literally insane for 4 days and 4 nights, right? And that's a long time to go without having any sleep, and I wasn't on drugs, I wasn't taking amphetamines and that kind of thing. I was kind of well, I was more or less drug free, but I was a bit insane, right? And while I went through this period of 4 days and 4 nights of not having any sleep, the last night before I eventually did get some sleep, it was actually a full moon, and I was on my own. Well, I was in my house living with my folks at the time, and what happened is I looked up at the full moon. I wasn't being, like a lunatic or anything, that kind of thing. I wasn't being like, driven by the moon and all that. It just happened to be a full moon this particular night. It was the end of a, long three days with no sleep. No sleep at all. Not even a nap. So I don't know if you can imagine what that feels like, guys, And I decided to go for a walk in the woods where I lived at the time, which is on the Wirral in England, here in England, in the Wirral, a place called Bromborough Woods. I went for a walk, expecting to just have this walk and then go back home, go to bed, try and get some sleep finally. And what happened was I went on this weird, mad, I sort of ran round the woods like a loon ball, like. I can't really describe that because it is kind of embarrassing in a way. Don't get me, I wasn't doing anything silly, like I wasn't like, naked or nothing like that, like, I was just kind of running around like a loon ball. Still wondering what the hell was going wrong, like, what was happening to me and that. But I looked up at the full moon, right, and in my head, I didn't have any intentions going on this walk or going on this journey, or I wasn't looking for anything, right? But this full moon's in the sky and that, like, and I looked up at the moon, and in my head, in my madness and all that, like, I said, I tell you what, I'll follow the moon and see where it takes me. And I was just looking up at the moon throughout this walk, walking through country lanes and things, and through farmers' fields and stuff, not knowing where I was going. And I ended up, it led me to a place on the Wirral, which was about 3 or 4 miles from where I was living, where I started, like, And I followed the moon. And it sort of led me to a place in the Wirral called Thornton Hall, which is an old stately home converted into a hotel. If any of you want to check it out on YouTube, on the internet or whatever, I'll try and get through this without saying the G word, the search engine people, like, So I get to this place called Thornton Hall, right, and I was sort of in this like mad, spellbound condition, I suppose. I was still being, it was like a spell was undoing. Don't know who caused it, don't know who did it to me, I don't know what was behind it initially. I kind of know now, like, but it'd be a bit too much to explain in this video. But the weird thing was, right, I just got to this place called Thornton Hall, right, and I remember it was in the early hours, it was past 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that by the time I got to this place. And I walked into the building like I owned the place. Like, normally you'd say to yourself, I can't go here or can't go there because they'll call the police and I'll get arrested. But at the time I didn't have any fears, I didn't care. I didn't care if the police would have stopped me or would have said something like, in my mind I was going to say to the police, look, I'm the king. You've got no right to stop me, like. I felt like I had the right to do anything I wanted, basically. So he walks into this place, and it's a posh place, you know what I mean? Thornton Hall. It's like a manor house, you know, like converted into a hotel. These days, it's a spa, what they call a spa, and you know, all the sort of like wealthy folks on the world go there to have to do saunas and have a spa and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah. But I walked into this place, and there was a couple of people here. There was a guy at the desk. At the reception desk, this old fella, he was just weird. He didn't even stop me. He didn't say. I just don't understand what was going on at the time. You know, I still can't explain it right, but he sort of left me to wander around the building without even phoning the police on me or nothing like that. I was even setting alarms off and stuff, and opening doors that, you know, and then alarms would go off, and then it just go, you know, they'd switch the alarm off and no one would come and stop me or anything, so I carried on, walking around like. And eventually, I went up this stairwell. I got to this area where there's meant to be, they were like hotel rooms, with the doors were all locked basically. And one of the rooms said bridal suite or honeymoon suite or something on the door. Obviously, it's a room that everyone uses when they get married. If they go there for the reception or whatever, they've got this posh room, especially for people who've just been married, newlyweds, right? Now, bearing in mind, right, guys, that you know the old William Wallace story, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the film, I'm talking about like the story of William Wallace, where he's supposed to have objected to the overlords taking people's wives on their wedding nights and having the rights to have sex with them, even though they've just been married to the husbands. Right? Keep that in your minds. The William Wallace objection, like these overlords will actually take your wife on your wedding night. How they do it and whatever, like, is another matter, like. But anyway, I sees this room and it says like the honeymoon suite or bridal suite or whatever the words were, but which I assume is a room that a lot of people go to, and they use the bed in there or whatever for when they're having the honeymoons, right? And I couldn't open the door and go in and have a look around because the door was locked. I assume there was no one in there, let's put it that way, like at the time. Like it was, you know, wasn't being used and anything. So I wasn't going to, you know, invade someone's privacy and that, like. But I assume there was no guests there that night. It was like, there was all kinds of other details I can talk about, but it's not really relevant. But what eventually happened was, right, I'm standing in this on this landing where there's like 3 or 4 doors that had kind of like, they were all kind of bridal suites or hotel rooms, you know, the luxury rooms. And I looked up above my head, and there was a kind of like a recess in the ceiling that looked dark, obviously, because it wasn't illuminated from behind. You know, like if you know, if you got stained glass, and you know, it's lit up from behind with a light bulb or something, you can see what the illustrations are on the glass. But because there was no light on in the loft area, in the attic of this stately home building, right, there was no illumination behind the thing that was above my head, so it was just looked like a black recess, like a dome almost, like a elongated dome, oval shape sort of thing. And I was thinking, what's that there? Can't really make it out, like, because there's no light behind it, you know. So, and it was like I was being driven by a spirit or something to say, like, look, Bruce, go this way, go that way. With no knowledge, I'd never been in that building before in my entire life. I still can't work out why they never phoned the police to get me, like, you know, this lunatic's walking round our mansion, like, and, you know what I mean, nothing. No one arrested me or anything. That's what I thought was really peculiar about it, like. So anyway, I goes up, I finds this door that sort of said the attic or whatever, the loft area. and that wasn't locked. So I goes up into the loft of the stately home. Sort of a bit embarrassing saying this really, like, but you know, just got to get the message across anyway. And what was strange, right, I goes up into the loft. So while I'm up there, I could see that the recess was, you know, in front of me. You know, it was like concaved from looking from underneath it, looking up at it. It was concaved. Well, from the top, from upstairs in the loft, looking at the thing, you know, it was all these windows, stained glass windows, and obviously the lights were on downstairs, so I could clearly see that, wow, it is stained glass windows. They are like I suspected, like. And I started, excuse me, I started looking at the illustrations on the stained glass, and you remember I'm looking at reverse images, like, you know what I mean, because I'm inside the other side of the glass. And I looked at the pictures and started thinking, wow, what's that supposed to be? You know, like, you know, when you look at stained glass windows, like there's a theme to the stained glass window pictures and that. And then one by one, as I started adding up in my head, I realised, oh wow, it's the zodiac. And they were the star signs of the zodiac in stained glass, which went right around this oval shaped dome kind of thing. And through curiosity I was thinking, wow, so like my star sign, it's going to be my birthday tomorrow, guys. You know, I don't know if you saw me videos on my channel last year, where I had a few drinks of wine or whatever. I spoke to people saying I'm made up, I've got to 50, you know. So I'm going to be 51 tomorrow, by the way. But anyway, I don't celebrate my birthday. Last year I was celebrating the fact that I reached 50. Okay, and I'm still alive and I'm still able to talk and all that kind of stuff. This year it's going to be a quiet affair. Maybe I'll have a quiet drink, I don't know. Don't really care. All I know is, you know, I'm just happy to still be alive at this age, yeah. But anyway, with me being a Scorpio, I looked at the star signs and I could see, like, you know, all the things, like, and I was looking at them in order, thinking, where's Scorpio, and I eventually found the window that had the scorpion on it and that, like. And the weird thing is when I lifted this, like, tarpaulin thing that was covering it, like, where the scorpion was, the window of the scorpion, you know, stained glass thing, there was actually a hole in the glass, as though it had been made with a drill or something, or, you know, pierced. The glass had been pierced. So I peered through the hole in the glass, thinking, what is this, a spy hole? And why would anyone put a spy hole in the loft of a hotel where people get married? You know, where they usually have a honeymoon night. And obviously, you know, people are a bit raunchy, aren't they, when they've just been married? People do sexual things with one another, like, and there's got to be some sad people out there that want to watch all this, like, or somehow monitor other people's private business when they've just been married. Like a curiosity thing, I don't know. Someone's got, like, this strange, perverse angle. I'm just going to lower the camera down a bit, like, because I'm turning it around, because the shadow is making me look a bit like I've got some kind of Hitler moustache or something. Hold on. Hold on. I'll just get the camera down a bit, like. Okay. No, it's still the same, because the light's above me, you see. So anyway, I peeped through this hole in the window that just so happens to be the Scorpio window. The scorpion illustration on this stained glass window. And I peeped through the hole. And you know, like the way ballistics experts can look through a hole and calculate where the bullets come through and what direction it's gone and all that, like. The hole in the glass was aimed directly at the door of the honeymoon suite that I'd just been standing by just minutes before. So I thought to myself, why would anyone who runs a hotel. Remember, it's a hotel for the public, yeah. Why would anyone want to be spying through a little hole from the loft? And who would want to do that? Looking at married couples entering into a honeymoon suite. You know what I mean? And obviously there might have been another hole somewhere else that actually looked through the ceiling directly down at in the bedroom of the honeymoon suite. I didn't find that. I wasn't looking for that, obviously, because I was thinking to myself, someone might be in there. That's why the door was locked, and I don't want to do that, do I? Right. So I worked this out. I thought, someone spies on these married couples when they arrive. Do you know? Like, I'll probably get shot for saying this, you know. But what is really crazy, like, if you think about what I'm saying, I was saying to myself, wow, this is getting mad there, because I didn't want to go there, I didn't intend to go there. Something drove me there, you know, to kind of like make me. I walked quite a long, it was like 3 or 4 miles or something, you know, in the early hours, like, still hadn't slept for 3 or 4 days. So I start adding it up, saying, wow, that's the honeymoon suite, and there's a peephole there in this window, which just so happens to be, you know, they all say it's the sex sign and all that in the star sign. I think it's a load of baloney myself, because I don't think any of them star signs look anything like what those animals and creatures are supposed to be. You know, I think when we're born, it's about where the planets are positioned and all that gives us our characteristics, yeah. But just so happens, through the Scorpio window, there's this little peephole, and you can see the marriage suite, the honeymoon suite, where newlyweds would get together, maybe for the first time in their lives. If anyone's like normal out there, they don't have sex until they're married. If you do it properly, like, you save it for your honeymoon night, you know, that's the old school way, like. So I was thinking maybe there's like old perverts or something in the, you know, like secret society, Freemasons or something, and they get this kick out of watching newlyweds having sex, or bearing in mind what William Wallace was going on about. There's these guys that were overlords, as they were known as. They take your wife on your wedding night, right? And the only way they could possibly do that is to hypnotise the husband, isn't it, or something, or drug, you know, put something in your drink or something. So like the husband's asleep, but the woman's still conscious. You know, a bit like Rosemary's Baby and things like that, you know, where there's like sexual acts done to people and it's against the will. They haven't got a clue it's happening. And oddly enough, and I must be psychic or something, mustn't I? I must be psychic for me to go there and discover this by accident, like. And then I looked around in this loft, and I found a light switch. You know, so like I switched the light on. So obviously if I was downstairs looking up at that window and that light would have been on, I would have been able to tell, you know, sure enough, it was bright enough, it lit up the whole loft, you know, a loft area, like. And I found the light switch and switched it on so I could have a look around, like, you know, because it was still dark when I was looking through the stained glass window, but obviously it was backlit from downstairs. Okay, you with me, guys? Yeah. No, it's a bit complicated what I'm saying, like, to digest in your mind, like. But I switched this light on, and so I could look all around this loft, which was quite big. And you know where you'd have like loft insulation, that's you know, them rolls of I don't know what it's made of, you know, that stuff, the spongy stuff that they lay down, and it's for insulation, heating and that. And I looked around and there's all this insulation all down on the grass, so I was thinking I better tread carefully here, because I don't want to go through the ceiling. Like you do in a loft and that, like. But something made me, it was like a voice in my head was going, there Bruce, there, that corner there. And I looked down at this, like where this loft insulation stuff was, and I was probably directly above the honeymoon suite, right, when I actually looked at this piece of loft insulation. And I don't know what made me do it. It was like, no, I've always claimed that God's been telling me everything, right? On me, you know, I've been claiming that, right? I don't claim to be a saint or Mr. Goody Two Shoes. I'm not perfect. I'm just a normal guy, as you can see by me on me channel. Like, I'm just a guy that, and I like enjoying myself or whatever. And you know, we've all got our. No one's perfect. You know what I mean? But the point is, I looked at this piece of loft insulation and lifted it up, thinking, is there a spy hole there? Like, you know, looking for another spy hole, basically, thinking, what's going on here? This is not right, is it? And I lifted up the loft insulation, right? And you know, you lift something up and you expect to find something like maybe a piece of old newspaper that's been there for years, or something that someone might have dropped while they were working there, or something like that. You don't expect to find something that has been put there on purpose. You know, like, you know the way witches are infamous for, you know, putting voodoo dolls tied up into a cupboard or something, or say if someone doesn't like you and they want to put a hex on you, they'll put some kind of totem or magical item in your personal property or whatever that you don't know it's there, so they can get into your private matters. But this is a hotel, remember, for people in the public, you know, to go on like their honeymoon when they've just been married. They're just expected to have a good time, enjoying themselves, relaxing after a wedding. So I lift up this loft insulation against all the odds, 1,000,000 to 1 chance. I'd just walked 3 or 4 miles, remember, from where I was, all the way to this spot, discovered a spy hole in the flipping stained glass window, and then starts like looking round at the loft insulation and that, like, and I lifted it up like very carefully, and the weird thing, I've drawn an illustration of what I found. Right, now I don't know anyone out there, if you're experts in occultism or voodoo or whatever, I'd like to get your opinions on what you think of what I found. And underneath the loft insulation, drum roll, you know the way people say there's a thing called Monarch programming, right? Where they call the MK Ultra process, right? Where they control people's minds and hypnotise them, so that, like, say a guy wants to have sex with a woman whenever he feels like it, he says a code word, or he does some kind of act or something. This is all shady stuff we're talking about here. You know, I'm talking about people seducing people here, basically. Bearing in mind the William Wallace thing, like, yeah. And I've drawn a little illustration of what I found, and I'll show you if I can, if you just can read it, right? And what was there was that a dead butterfly. You can see the word there, dead butterfly. Right next to that, which was a 6-inch nail. Are you with me, guys? Now, what are the chances, right? What are the chances of finding a dead butterfly next to a 6-inch nail? I really would love anyone out there if you got any answers to that. I've got my assumptions of what I think it is. I'll tell you now what I think it is. But what are the chances of me going 5 miles, 4 miles or something, so let's say 3 miles at the most, on foot, walking around like a loon ball, finding a going into a mansion house, basically, going up into the loft undisturbed by the police or nothing, no one arresting me, no one phoning and saying there's an intruder walking round, no one even tried to stop me, right, guys? Finding that, like, and what, you know, because it can't, like, fall out someone's pocket by accident, can it, guys? I could understand if it was like a key ring or something, or a coin or a penny, or you know, something someone just drops by accident and they put the loft insulation down and cover it by accident and forgot all about it. But what are the chances, right, of finding that? A nail right next to a butterfly. Right, and then bear in mind this thing, for the men they've got MK Ultra, right? For the women especially, it's women, right? It's chicks, right? Usually attractive women that are programmed with Monarch programming, and we know what Monarch, the word Monarch, the royalty are called monarchy, right? Why the, you know, bearing in mind that Monarch programming is usually women who are very attractive, and they're used like sex kittens, aren't they? They're used for sex, like Britney Spears or Rihanna, all these famous women, and we shouldn't blame them really, should we, if they've been programmed or mind controlled or with this kind of stuff. This is why we shouldn't be too like vicious against these people, because they might not even have any clue that it's happening to them. So I find this, it was dead, the butterfly, but it was flat. You know, the wings were like that. You know what I mean? You know when you close the wings of a butterfly, it was on its side, just like that. Let's try and get it close up, like. So you can see the head of the butterfly and the little legs and everything, like. Looking at this thing here, this piece of iron, I don't know, steel, hardened steel, iron, whatever, this a 6-inch nail, carefully placed and covered over so no one would see it. What are the chances of me finding that? And what I did was, like, I picked the nail up and threw it across the loft, and I picked the butterfly up and just sort of went, just threw it, or sort of blew it away, and just blew it. So basically in my head I was saying, I've broke the spell, I've broke the spell. Whoever's put that there is a witch or a warlock or a wizard or something of that nature, a Freemason maybe, whatever, right? Someone using magic for whatever reason to Monarch program females, right? And bear in mind what I'm saying, it was above a bridal, a honeymoon suite, right? So the way I saw it at the time when I was looking at it and thinking, I assumed, I was like, and I didn't know anything about Monarch programming at the time, guys. I wasn't on YouTube. I didn't know anything about all those things. I'd never been on the internet at the time. This was about 1995, maybe 96, 97. I don't know. It was in the 90s anyway. It was a long time ago now, like. But I just blew the butterfly across the loft as if to say, right, I've released that butterfly from that spell. And I've threw the nail, as if to say, whatever the nail is supposed to be, I've released that. You know, like, kind of like, I know it sounds crazy, but witchcraft is a peculiar realm, guys. It's not, it's designed so it's always against the grain, and it's not, no one would even think twice about it, basically. But what I assume is, you know, that's supposed to be the man in deep sleep after, you know, he's had his first sexual encounter with his new wife, right? And that's the wife. You know, it's the she lying next to the he. So somehow, I believe that was a spell, so that someone could enter that room, and the man is virtually a nail on the bed, his head on, if you imagine the top of the nail being a head on a pillow, well out of the game, you know, completely in deep sleep after his honeymoon, you know, he's drunk or what. I remember people have a drink and that at the weddings and all that. That's the way it's supposed to be, guys. You know, even Jesus turned the water to wine at the wedding, you know, guys. People celebrate when they get married, you know. You think about it, the guy is asleep so much, unaware, because he's a nail. He's basically no more than a piece of metal. The man is the nail, and the woman is the butterfly, and she's been monarch programmed so that these overlords or these guys, these weirdos, I don't know who they are. No one's going to come forward and admit to this. You know what I mean? But I assume that the butterfly is the woman, and while the guy is asleep being the nail, because the nail's lifeless, isn't it? Yeah, a butterfly has got life in it, even if it's dead. You know what I'm saying? Compare a nail to a butterfly. There'll be all those little intricate parts, all those little, its legs, its wings. It's even got a brain in there somewhere, hasn't it? Yeah, right. Even if it's dead. But obviously it's dead, representing hypnotised. But it could be awakened, like they go, right, wake it. Like the way Count Dracula wakes women up in the films, where he summons them from the beds and that. Or, the old legend of Persephone in Greek legend, where this vulture thing used to summon her from her sleep. But just imagine she's with a man. And they don't want the man, remember? They don't want anything to do with him. He's just the guy next to her on the bed. But if you marry the woman and she's been monarch programmed it before you marry her, then they've always got that key to her mind, haven't they? Do you know, like this weird twist in it, like? So I do that, I disturb that spell. And throw the butterfly one way and throw the nail another way, thinking that's got to be some kind of voodoo or something. I don't know what that is like. It was all new to me at the time, guys, but I've had a lot of thinking since then and working it out in my head, And bearing in mind that underneath that area would have been a honeymoon suite of some kind, a big double bed that you don't own. It's not yours. It's not your bedroom because it's in a hotel. It's in a big stately home hotel that someone else owns. Even the bed is not yours. That's why I advise people, if you get married, go home. You know what I mean? Don't go to a hotel or anything. You never know what you're in, especially old stately homes, guys. I mean, have you ever seen Eyes Wide Shut? You know what I mean? There's all these women all being used as, while meanwhile, Mister is a nail, oblivious, he hasn't got a clue. And remember the end of the film Eyes Wide Shut, where Tom Cruise is talking to Nicole Kidman, and he hasn't told her that he's just seen an orgy. Because you don't tell your missus these things, do you? He hasn't told her anything about where he's just been and that, And she starts waffling, saying, I had this terrible dream that I was in this, party and all these men were having sex with me and taking liberties. And she starts breaking down, doesn't she, crying about it, because she doesn't know anything any better. Anyone who's monarch programmed, that's the message in Eyes Wide Shut, guys, you know what I mean? Monarch programming is the females being used, even when they're married. This is why you've got to be really vigilant with these things, yeah. If your missus knows any shady characters, you get rid of them, don't you? If her mother seems a bit aloof and a bit possessive or a bit strange, you get rid of them out of their lives, don't you? You say, I'm not marrying your family or your mum or your dad or any overlords or Freemasons or Red Cloak. Red Cloak in Eyes Wide Shut, it's got control over all these women, yeah. So I think I disturbed the spell there. I think I broke a spell. Unbeknown at the time, I didn't know what I was actually doing, to be honest. I felt like the divine was driving me, do you get me? So I assume, if you ever see anything like that, it's just not something you'd find it couldn't have been placed there by accident, could it? The butterfly couldn't have died and it was laid perfectly on its side, exactly like that. With its wings flat, with its wings closed, with this bloody metal nail. No one can drop that by accident, can they? No one can put it there by accident. And then after I'd done that, I went down I climbed up on the roof of the building. I climbed up the flagpole. They had a flagpole with a Union Jack on it. I climbed up the flagpole on the top of a roof that was about, I'd say about 50 feet up or something. If I fell off, I would have died, basically. Climbed up, stole the Union Jack. Then I somehow found a way to get back off the roof and back into the loft and then back down onto the ground and that. And I was looking up at the windows, you know, when I got back inside. And I was looking up thinking, so that Scorpio there, and there's a peephole there, and it's aimed right at this door where the honeymoon suite is, right? And then I walked out of the building. Before I actually walked out of the building, I even went into an office and it was just opening up. The manager had just arrived and went into his office. It was like the next morning. Do you get me, guys? It was like 5 o'clock in the morning when I actually went downstairs. And I walked into the office and I went into the office and I said to this guy, I'd never met him in my life, but I assumed he was the manager. I said, all right, mate. And he goes, who are you? I went, I've just come in to tell you, mate, I've just been on the roof, I've just nicked your flag, alright? That's how mad I was, guys. I was a complete lunatic. Anyone out there thinks I wasn't mentally ill, you know, you've got another thing coming. I was off my head. But I didn't mention the butterfly and the nail to this guy. I just got off and I walked all the way home again, 3 miles or whatever it was. Got back to my house. Took some sleeping tablets and then went to bed and finally had my first night's sleep for 4 days and 4 nights. Right. So, any ideas out there, guys? I'd love to hear your, you know, suggestions or assumptions of what I found there. A bit of voodoo, a bit of black magic, a bit of Freemasonic control, maybe Monarch programming. I bet you over the years every married couple that went to that room, I bet you the woman would have had dreams similar to what Nicole Kidman had that night in that film. You know, I know she's only acting, I know it's only a film, but you know what, Stanley Kubrick was blowing the lid on things that were actually real in that movie, you know, where he's basically saying, you haven't even got control over your own wife if you're involved with these guys, you've got to be careful, yeah. The spell of Freemasonry. So, anyway, that was a long time ago when that happened. I'd just love to hear your suggestions, and it's just something different, isn't it? Something new. What are the chances of me walking all that distance and finding that, guys? You know, I'm like a scout. You know, when with the Indians, what they call a scout. If we needed water, I'd find water. If we needed supplies, I'd find supplies or whatever. Well, in this case, I broke a magic spell, basically. I broke some kind of voodoo spell. And maybe things improved in that place afterwards. Like, it was some kind of Masonic thing going on, like. So, anyway, I don't know. Is it important? Is it relevant to anything? I'd like to hear your suggestions, you know. But, yeah, I think William Wallace was right. I think they do this thing. I've got other assumptions about it I'd like to go into later on. If anyone's interested in what I've said in this video, I've got other assumptions about other ways that they can take your wife on the wedding night and things like that. But that is definitely proof, isn't it? And I'm not lying, guys. I'm not making this up. This is a real true story. Well, that's proof that something shady goes on with married couples, isn't it? And the woman doesn't know what she's doing, and the man's well away, he's asleep, he's a nail, he's like that, you know. I'm a nail, like, oh, I'm in a nice dream here. Like, meanwhile, she could be getting banged left, right and centre by all kinds of Tom, Dicks and Harrys, like. You know. Oh, okay, bit of a powerful message, I think. Bit of a strong kind of, something new, isn't it, guys? I don't know. But anyway, I'll wrap it up right now, and if we want to continue the discussion, if anyone's got any interest in what I'm talking about, I'll go on about that particular theme, because I've got my own assumptions about engagement rings, guys, you know, the ones that you buy in a jeweller's brand new. when you go into a jeweller's and you know, your wife says, I like that one, that diamond in that ring there, blah blah blah. And there's a lot of people are discovering that there's a lot of dodgy stuff in diamonds lately, isn't there? You know, because we don't cut them ourselves, do we? We don't dig them up. We usually buy them off jewellers. Guys that have already made it, like, you know, for you. And I've got this assumption that that's another way they can intervene on a married couple, engaged, newlyweds who've just been engaged and then they get married. You know, I'm kind of speaking up for married couples here, guys. You know, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But anyway, guys, I'll wrap it up because I feel a div when I'm doing these speeches, you know, because everyone can hear me. I live in a block of flats. So anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Please tell me what you think. I'll continue on the subject matter if people are interested.